What's good, everybody? It's your gearhead, Mr. Logic. You already know what time it is, yo. Let me introduce you to my lovely co-host.
Hi, guys. It's your girl, Nate.
And we have a special guest in the house, you know what I mean? Now, this kid, he actually watched last week's episode, you know what I'm saying, reached out, and you know how we do, yo. We about hustling and we about putting others on and working and networking. So, without further ado, let me give a proper introduction with the drum roll. Mr. Nelson Rodriguez. You feel me? Nelson Rodriguez. And the name of his show is called Montana the Prophet.
I am Montana the Prophet, and Montana Method is the name of the game. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, as you guys know, if it's your first time, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. You know what time it is. Yo, it's nothing but love and respect. And we always keep tradition. So, we go around the table explaining how our week was. We'll start with ladies first. Love, how was your week?
Oh boy, you guys are gonna get a kick out of this. Wait, okay. Listen. So, for those of you who don't know, my boyfriend drives a manual car, and unfortunately for him, he got a boo-boo on his left foot. So
Hold on.
I think he
You can't say boo-boo.
Let's go get a picture person. Yeah.
I think specifically it was a stress fracture, but whatever.
Yogi Bear.
Anyways, so he can't necessarily use the clutch because obviously he has a stress fracture in his foot. And so I had such a bright idea of oh, maybe, you taught me once how to try to drive your car. I have school today. It's super close. I don't even got to drive that far. Let's see if we can switch cars. Let's see if I can handle it. I managed to reverse correctly. I got that far. But the second that I was at a stoplight and I had to go, oh my God, I lost count how many times I fucking stalled.
I'm telling y'all right now, I can smell the pancake syrup from that clutch burning. This man is going to have to buy a clutch.
And the worst part, okay, he was obviously sitting passenger. I had my mom in the back because she was visiting us. We were going to Target and my sister. And I was just there, just fucking stalling. I was like, I had some cars beeping at me. Luckily, there was only a few, not a lot of cars. They were just, surpassing me out. I told him, I'm like, I need to get a sticker on Amazon that says, please don't honk. I'm driving a manual car.
You really want people to fuck with you, don't you?
And just put it on whenever I'm driving because it's difficult. And then I stalled so many times. I was on the left turning lane to turn left to go into the Target, and this wasn't this wasn't a busy street. This was not too many cars were passing by, but. So I was on a turning lane, but there was a lane to go on each side. So luckily I wasn't impeding traffic. Okay. I stalled so many times. My boyfriend was like, babe, it's okay. Let's just switch. It's right there.
He'd rather hurt himself than hurt his car.
No, because I couldn't get it. And I'm like, okay, fine. And to save myself from the embarrassment, I didn't even get off the car. I just hop seats over. I'm like,
can I embarrass you a little bit more? So for those who don't know, Nate's man has relatively a new Honda, right? These things have assistance for clutch, meaning it's not like the old school ways where it was really hard. This shit, matches your RPMs. You stalled.
I couldn't find the biting point. I think that's what you call it or whatever.
Okay, hold on. Okay. Class 101 real quick.
Because what I was doing, I was obviously I had my left foot on the clutch and I put first gear. I got my foot off the clutch slowly, but I wasn't putting the gas. I let off too fast and then I was trying to put gas and that's why I kept stalling and he kept trying to tell me and I'm not much of a verbal learner. I'm a visual learner. I have to see you do it with your feet so I can learn and I wasn't understanding. I couldn't get it.
I'll give you.
And I was panicking. Everybody was honking at me and I was like,
listen, I know he loves you because he let you drive his baby. 2, quick way to learn clutch, right? Clutch, gas, right? The gears are literally right here at a space.
I know.
The clutch engages. You don't have to touch the gas. You can literally just take your foot off the gas, leave it in gear, and release the clutch off slowly. and it'll grip and it will go by itself. Because if you basically slip too fast, it turns off on you. So
I don't know what I was doing. I think I was doing that and it wasn't working. I don't know what to tell you, Jason.
Listen,
I don't know what to tell you.
listen, you just lost points. Hey, what up, Ty?
When did I ever have
What's
points?
going on, G? Yeah,
Hello.
you bad. Yeah, I'm doing okay. You didn't call me. Fuck you. With that being said, all I'm saying is, I don't know about you, my G, but when a woman can drive manual, it's a turn on and scary at the same time. Because hope to God, you know.
That means one of two things. Either she grew up really dirt poor and all they had was a stick shift car, or she's from a third world country.
Facts. Facts. Like, or she ain't a she.
Oh my God.
Yeah, listen.
Yeah.
One of my exes, that's literally what co-signed me to actually really fall for her. Yo, she could whip like I could. Yo, she dropping in second, third. Yo, I was like, ooh, I like you.
For some reason, I'm thinking of like the Fast and the Furious movies, how they have these like super hot women who can drive super cool cars and like race, and it's like, man, that's not really a thing
Nope.
at all.
Listen,
It's not difficult, like while I'm driving, to like change gears. What's
It's-
difficult
it's
is
getting
when
off
you're
the
out of
line.
stopped. Like, I hate it.
listen, practice
It's-
makes perfect.
It's not like I mean, obviously, I would like to learn. Like, he has it. He's not getting rid of it anytime soon. In case of an emergency, like now.
You better call Uber because you ain't
But-
fucking up my clutch.
No, I literally Ubered to school today so he could take my car to work.
Oh, you're so
But luckily,
sweet.
I live super close to school, so like it's not a big deal.
Listen. All I'm saying, Linda, honey, if I was in the car with you, you would have hated me. Oh, you would have fucking hated me because I would have basically. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna yell at you, but I would have been so fucking stern.
I would have gone back to my house, gotten my baston in my car, and I would have hit you with an upside down. Like, just
Yeah, I think she would have left out the car. She's like, "Fuck you, I'm leaving. Yo, you drive it."
dead ass.
So, with that being said, that's dope though. At least you learned something new. You know, you didn't buckle under pressure. So good, kudos to you.
I mean, yeah.
How about you, my G? How's your
My
week so
week
far?
was jam packed. I just got back to Miami a little bit past my flight landed at 12:45 last night. I got home at 2 a.m. from visiting my mother and my sister in Louisiana.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day!
Happy Mother's Day,
to all
guys.
the amazing mothers on this planet. Without you guys, we would be nothing. So that was the end of the week. Then I usually podcast on Friday, so I did my podcast and spent the whole week working, editing, getting clients to the studio, just working, man.
Grinding.
Doing my thing.
Okay.
So I don't have much time for anything else nowadays besides work. So
Adulting.
yeah,
Adulting.
it's chasing a dream has a price,
Chasing the dream does have a price, but
Definitely.
it is priceless at the same time.
It definitely is. I agree.
My week has been very intriguing. I messed up. I got high off of a drink that I didn't think was gonna get me high.
Bruh.
So for those who don't know, Fort Lauderdale, that area, full THC scale, no CBD, no Delta. They're actually legit THC. They got brownies, they got tea bags, they got mints, they got everything. So me and my partner Josh, we went out to eat, and I took a quick swig, and your boy, I paid the bill, but I took the bill that I was supposed to leave behind and left the empty one, and he had to chase us down and get the right one. But for the most part, at least I know, my limits. I'm not doing it again. I don't listen. It ain't my thing. No. That's a beautiful. What? Who? When? How? Ty.
Comment.
No, that's Ty. But my week's been.
No, it's Roberto.
His name is okay. So that's my boy. His name is Tyrone, but his name is Roberto. But he's also known as Tyrone. The only Spanish guy I know named Tyrone. All right, and it doesn't help because he's tira flecha. Yeah, I said what I said.
He says,
Typical
Jay, try to
Joe.
invite you to PR. You snooze me. That's wrong.
I'm
No invite, jerk ass.
in my feelings. I don't want to go anywhere. So with that being said, it's definitely been a little bit of a roller coaster. As you guys know, I've been basically trying to get my life back together, and the more it goes back
Oh,
together,
yeah.
more shit falls apart.
I wouldn't call it falling apart. I would just call it rearranging.
I
All
call
about
it.
perspective.
I call it. Yes, you're right. You're 100% right. When it comes to certain things happen for a reason, and shit just happens. This is shit that just happened. I had to get my license back. I had to go to court. Has to still go to that dispute, and I'm still dealing with the insurance company. I don't like them. I don't like them. So right now, I'm kind of anti-government. Right now, I'm on my fucking vendetta type shit.
Is anybody pro-government?
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of person is like they tax us. You know,
I can tell you the wealthy is because they ain't paying shit.
I mean, I don't think anybody's pro-government, man. Really, like, there's nothing really to be pro-government about, in my opinion. But hey, anyway.
No, I agree.
You know, I mean, you have to pay taxes, right? That sucks.
Taxes on taxes.
I hate doing the line at the DMV. That sucks. I hate going to the post office. That sucks. I mean, anything literally that has to do is like, man, that sucks. You know,
I wish it was an animal, so I don't have to pay taxes.
That'd be cool. But then
if you was an animal,
what animal would I want to be? That's the question.
Definitely not something humans eat. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, fact.
You run the risk
Maybe
of
a
getting killed by
dog?
one of us. A dog
Ooh,
lives a good
cat?
life.
Cats are more fierce.
Hold on.
You know,
Out of every animal, you would want to
Or
be a dog.
maybe-
I'm a fucking honey badger.
Honey badger's just good.
Yeah, because it's like I'm not the biggest animal, but yo, I take on lions and fucking hyenas.
Nobody
and
messes with the badger.
raccoons. I probably want to have thumbs or
I
like
would-
hands.
I wouldn't want to then be a chimpanzee or something.
Nah, those are scary. I'm scared of
That's
apes.
the point. Nobody will mess with you.
I'm
you know?
fucking
Yeah.
terrified of apes.
There you go.
Can
But-
you imagine though? Like you have an ape in your house. Like so, obviously you guys are young. I had a homeboy when Hurricane Andrew hit. His girlfriend at the time was living by the zoo. The roof was open and a baboon jumped into their house. They had
Wow.
to sleep in the car. This is
Holy
back like in
shit.
1992.
Oh my
crazy.
Can you
God.
imagine? It's his house.
That's
Like,
pretty
yo,
wild.
one baboon against a family of four. Yo,
That's pretty wild.
I don't have to be fast. I just got to be faster than you. Like at that point,
my
yo,
God.
I don't want to go there. So
Yeah. Baboons are reckless.
as we break it in, yo, let's talk about you, man. How'd you get started?
Sure.
I'm curious. How did you come up with the name for your podcast?
So
Montana the Prophet.
I back in the summer of 2021, I was living my best life. I was making a lot of money. I owned a successful business. I had everything you would say a person strives for in life, right?
Mhm.
I was on vacation in Colombia. I made a ton of money that month. Like I was living the life. I was doing well. Then when I get back, 4 days after I get back from vacation, I get arrested by the FBI and I'm indicted by the federal government. So that happened.
Hold on, whoa.
You're just
whoa,
gonna
whoa.
glide past that.
Yeah,
and
we-
not
we-
give
we-
any
I was gonna get
details.
deeper into it. I was gonna get deeper
Because
into
it's what they. Oh yeah, the
Listen,
cops came
I'm
and
gonna be
arrested. No, the
judgmental.
FBI.
I'm hearing you doing good. You going back and forth to Colombia.
But
Then I hear indictment. Hey, that sounds like some.
I was on vacation in Colombia. Relax. I was on vacation.
Okay.
So I get back. The FBI arrests me for something I did in 2016, many years before. I get indicted by the federal government for conspiracy to commit healthcare fraud for something I did for a little while I was very broke and desperate, something I never should have gotten involved in.
We call that the Rick Scott. If you know, you know.
Yeah, with a big shot, don't go to prison. Anyway, so I get indicted overnight. My life falls apart. I don't have a business anymore. I'm bad in work from working in healthcare for the rest of my life. Even though the business I had nothing to do with why I went to prison, it was still in the same field. So I basically had to drop my business overnight. I went from having everything you should quote unquote have in life to having nothing. So I really had to reevaluate my identity, who I was as a person. I had to dig deep as far as like, who is Nelson? A lot of people think that who you are is like what you own or where you work at, you know, your physical possessions or what you look like. None of that shit is what you are. You know what I mean? And I realized that in that moment. So I had to really dig deep and say, man, who is Nelson? What does that even mean, that word? You know, what makes up this person? So I decided to write a book called Montana Method. And the reason I named it Montana Method was because I thought about the first time I was ever inspired in life. And the first thing that immediately popped up into my head was watching Scarface for the first time as a kid. Tony Montana was the most existential, inspiring fictional character in my life, because as a kid, I had never seen anything in film that depicted a person who wanted something, said they wanted something, said they were gonna get it, and got it. You know what I mean? So he was a guy that came in here on a boat with 100,000 other Cubans, was broke, lived in a tent under a bridge, and
Concentration camp.
Pretty much, pretty much. And
Yeah.
what's even more inspiring is my mother was one of those people. She lived in one of those camps. So I knew that story intimately about getting here and living in a tent. So I immediately thought about Tony Montana and how he inspired me as a kid. It was the first time I ever saw like that kind of story, that rise to power and fame and fortune and all that stuff. And so I decided to name the book Montana Method. And I basically wrote it because I thought, you know what, if I go to prison, if I die, if something happens to me, the book is always here. So someone will be able to see this was Nelson. You know what I mean? So that's why I wrote it. I published it in March of 2022. I started my podcast in June of 2022. I actually got sentenced in the middle of all that to 8 months in federal prison. So what I ended up doing was I had about 3 or 4 months where then I may get prepared and put my things in order. So I had until January of 2023. And between October of 2022 and January of 2023, I recorded 16 podcast episodes. And I actually set them to premiere while I was gone. So if you didn't know me, you thought I was still out. You would watch my podcast and be like, "Oh, this is cool."
We call that the Tupac. It's real shit. Like that's genius. Holy shit.
So what was pretty cool is I went in, and then I went in there and I decided to work on me. I was like, whatever is happening in the outside world, I don't have any control over. So I'm just gonna focus on me. I read 34 books in there while I was there in those 5 months. I lost 20 pounds. I did yoga and meditated almost every day. I met a monk, a Buddhist monk of all people, and he taught me a lot about spirituality. He read the Quran, the Torah, the Bible, the Compass of Zen. He read a lot of spiritual books, and we had a lot of deep conversations.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I learned how to be present in life. Most people don't know how to be present. There was this field that had a lot. It was very beautiful in nature. You could see the sunset and stuff, and I would just be quiet and watch it for hours, and it taught me to notice the little things. I learned how to depict what bird was chirping by the sound of their singing, and I knew the pretty birds, sang, and the ugly birds kind of quacked, and like I learned all these how to be present and how to notice things you don't typically notice. So go ahead.
You pretty much were locked up but free in the mind.
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
Wild.
What is crazy? Yeah, prison taught me that you are a prisoner if you allow yourself to be a prisoner. A prison is of your own making. You know what I mean? It made me realize that we all live. Yeah, go ahead. What's up?
Are you Cuban?
Yeah, 100% Cuban on both sides.
Oh, okay, interesting.
The owner of this podcast is Cuban too.
Yeah.
Damn,
Cool.
boy.
Before you got arrested, like knowing what you know now and all of your experiences,
right?
Do you feel like you might have like there was something missing in your life?
100%.
Because before
100%.
all of that happened, you thought you had everything and you thought you were complete, and I'm assuming with purpose. But when you lost everything,
those were things, they had to be taken away from me for me to understand that they were worthless. If something can be lost, if something can be replaced, it's worth nothing. If something can't be replaced, it's worth everything. I can't replace my mother. I can't replace my niece, my nephew, my sister.
Amen.
So
Shit.
yeah, the only people who came to see me were my mother, my niece, my nephew, my sister, my father. So when I got the day I got sentenced, the only people that were in the courtroom were my mother and my grandfather. Those are the things that and then my grandfather passed away while I was in prison.
Right,
So,
my condolences.
Thank you. And those are the things that make you realize what's important in life. You know what I mean? So if it's replaceable, it's shit. It's worth nothing. Throw it away.
Facts.
You know what I mean? If it's not replaceable, cherish it. Those are the things. Your character is not replaceable. You know what I mean?
Especially the content of it.
Of course. Spirit, like your spirit is not replaceable.
So I have a question for you.
I have an answer. What's up?
I like that response. In your opinion,
yes.
What's the only thing that stands after you're called home? This is something I taught myself, but I want to hear your input. Like, what is the one thing that stays in the lifetime that you've been on Earth and even after you leave?
Your name?
Your name?
Yeah.
Nate?
your memory,
Your memory?
the memory you leave behind.
I say respect. And the reason I say respect, because everything that you have basically brought to the table is the respect you earn in a lifetime is what opens doors for the ones you love. It is the blueprint. And just like he said, you can't take anything with you. This is
100%.
real life. Everything, if it has a price, it's worthless. The things that mean the most, like he was saying, are the things that are built from the core, internally, spiritually. So I've always basically told myself, another reason why I push hard for the podcast and live out my dreams is not necessarily just for me, but it's the only thing I can leave if I'm called home early.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, you strive for greatness. And if you know, that saying where Benny Siegel shoot for the moon, if you miss, you're still amongst those stars. Now, when it comes to your podcast, man, you know what I'm saying? I feel like you're kind of like us. You just get on topic and we basically go, you know, day in, day out.
Right.
What are some of the things you like to focus on given your history?
The main thing I like to focus on is stories.
Stories?
100%. And it's people. I was one of those people who kind of fall into that trap of like, oh, poor me. But, you know, I ended up in prison and did, you know, 5 out of 8 months or whatever. I was in there with people who did 30 years. I had met people who I went to prison before I was alive and were still there. So it's like, poor me or
Right.
should I, or no, not really.
So,
You know?
when you're locked up, here's the one thing they'll fucking tell you. The lifers, they live there.
Yeah.
Like, they know, and it goes down to respect, because you could be in there doing fucking 20 years, but guess what? 20 years, you're out. This motherfucker's never leaving.
Never leaving.
And when you acknowledge that, you could think you have a bad deal, but it's
Yeah.
like, hey, I got to go home date.
100%.
This dude is going to die here.
100%.
And when you meet these individuals, and we're not talking about like pussy people. Like, no, these are some hardcore down to the bone where they have humbled themselves so much in life where it's like, yo, some of them accept their fate. Some of them manifest greatness out of their fate.
Right.
And that's the crazy thing about being on the inside, which I'm sure that you dealt with, especially being that it's federal, because federal is different from state.
Yeah.
Federal is serious shit.
Yeah. No, federal typically is like the prisons are nicer, quote unquote, but it's I mean it's prison.
Prison's
I think. Yeah, prison is prison. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I just love inspiring stories, people who come face like really crazy odds in life and find a way to accomplish a goal in spite of what life presents them, you know. So stories. I'm fascinated with stories, just what motivates people, how they got to where they are, where they came from, you know,
The identity,
yes,
the character, the content.
Yes, exactly. What I rediscovered is what I like to see in other people, you know. I mean, obviously throughout that I talk about their interests and we talk about music and we talk about, you know, other things, but the overall arching theme of my podcast is stories.
Beautiful,
For
beautiful. Sure. Guys, make sure you check them out. Montana the Prophet. You won't be disappointed. Again, if you're one of those who like to learn, to basically break taboo and basically go into your own lane and go against the grain, I suggest you basically hop on and basically look his shit up, because you'll definitely be intrigued. As you know, we go into topics. And I have some videos I want to share with y'all. And we gonna play. I wanted to show them earlier, but I need to get their raw experience. I want to see how you guys interpret this. So if we could play the first video, which would be this one.
Okay.
Viral for letting his students take out his grades, was fired from his job. And students began texting him after he never showed up to his classes, which made him emotional.
Hey, bestie. Hope that you see this message. How are you? I hope that you're okay. Our class misses you so much. I really want you to know that we love you and we miss you so much. I can't wait for you to come back. I can't believe that taking somebody's hair out is such a big deal. And it makes me so mad that people make little things big things. I want you to know that class and others got your back. And we will always stand behind you. No matter what happens, we got you. Again, we miss you and we love you so much. I can't wait for you to come back.
The teacher who went viral for letting his students
You can take it down. I'll minimize it. Okay. So as you know, we start with ladies first. To give proper context to it, teacher was in a classroom and the female students were unbraiding his hair. According to the school board, that is not acceptable. And because of that, he was terminated. Now, there are some things, as you know, my eyes, my ears, I visualize certain things and I catch shit very well. What do you take from this? And do you think he deserved to be fired?
I don't think he deserves to be fired. If they're stating that it's in the handbook, I want to know where. I want you to read line by line why, like where it says it in the handbook. Because if it doesn't say it or it says it like, oh, that could be up for interpretation, then they're just reaching and they were looking for a reason to fire him.
Okay. What about you, brother?
Well, we have the this side of the coin where the teacher seemed like a good teacher and the students loved him and everything. Obviously, when you look at it from that context, it's hard to find people who give a shit about anything nowadays, and especially a teacher who gives a shit about his students. It's a shame to see him get fired. However, there might be a B side to this story that we don't know about, which I'm guessing is what you are going to bring into the table.
Mm-hmm.
So my instinct, based off seeing a 30-second video from Instagram, is poor teacher, but there's probably a but here. So go for
Yeah,
it.
probably.
Okay. As you guys know, I love to cook. Now, first things first, for Latinos, for Blacks, for Caribbean folks, that's culture.
Right.
It is culture for kids to basically do our hair. I did hair as a kid, scratch my mom's scalp and shit, my sister's. And you have to understand, him being a teacher, those are like his kids.
There you go.
Your teachers are secondary parents. That's why they say be careful who you allow to teach your kids.
Right.
Because you want to make sure they have the same type of respect that they have. There's just one negative I find in that video.
Wow.
Why do your kids have your number? See, this is where shit gets tricky because it is a 30-second video.
Right.
Now, we know that in context, he was fired because of the hair. But it's bigger than that because in all my years, from high school, middle school, elementary school, I never had
a teacher's phone number ever under any circumstances.
That was
the only exception was like my basketball coach, but
because that's athletic division.
and even though she technically wasn't my PE teacher.
I played football. I never had any of my coaches' numbers. No.
And if anything, consent of the parents,
right?
Because we don't know how the parents feel towards that. And again, these are not little kids. These are kids who are growing, and there's emotions involved. So
Maybe
we don't know.
Middle school, high school, maybe.
Yeah, and in a world where we have seen grooming happening with R. Kelly,
correct,
Drake.
Oh come on.
You got a lot of dudes out here.
Kendrick Lamar fan over here.
Yeah, like. But with the whole thing is like, yo, I honestly feel if it was just over them taking out his braids, I see nothing wrong with that because ideally you want kids to have a safe place. Mm-hmm. And if you have a kind, daring soul who gives them that space, then you need to respect it.
Correct.
And this is where being straightforward is a problem because just because something's legal doesn't make it right. And just because something is wrong doesn't make it wrong. That's called perception. So my perception in the first video of them taking out, that's innocent. But once they're texting him,
right?
Why do they have your information? These are things that strike my mind. This is where I say I go into it,
right?
Because I don't have kids. I have nephews and nieces, and I got about 7 god babies. Speaking of god babies, my boy Tyrone, I'm godfather for his children and other children. I'm broke. But for the most part, man, I think it's really sad that it went to that far because we see so much worse shit happening.
100%.
Now with him having them reach out to him, a lot of kids, as you know, especially you growing up, a lot of our friends come from broken homes. And we all had that one teacher who was solace, who was our mental state where we felt our freedom. In my case, it would have been Mr. Lax, who taught me how to balance a checkbook, who told me what it is to be in the real world. Like nothing in school I'm taking with me. It ain't about your friends. It's about how you respect yourself. And this is something he installed. And mind you, I didn't have his number, but when we saw each other out in public, this man bought me drinks. Like, you know what I'm saying? We got to actually grow as one where he kept it real. And the thing is, when people keep it real, somebody's going to get offended.
Right.
And I think that's where you really look at that video. It's like, damn, bro, he really loves these children.
For sure.
He ain't choking up over nothing.
Yeah.
A grown man ain't going to choke over that. He loves them kids. The only negative I see,
Why do they have his
why
phone
do they
number?
have access
Agreed.
to you?
I had to text my sister just now because I had to make sure that nothing's changed in the last 7 years that I've gone out of school and whatnot. Yeah, no, she doesn't have any of her teachers' numbers.
Hmm.
Because I know university is different than regular like
No,
public school.
definitely,
Because
right.
obviously, you know, I have the professor's numbers on the syllabus, but
But that's for
That's-
work. That's
that's
just
called
for,
yeah. Just making
and
sure.
it's
Yeah.
different because look at this is what middle school.
Mm.
We're talking about college. College is a whole different
Nah,
ballgame.
college, you're an adult. It's not the same.
And even then, it's problematic because how many times,
Yeah.
listen, I ain't proud about this, but I know shorties out there who basically gave up for the grade. Okay, it's part of the game.
That's
It's-
crazy. That's
but-
something that you only see in movies. I
No,
never knew someone that did that in real life.
listen,
You know,
Listen, mommy, dad, FIU, okay, UM. I can tell you some.
I know people. I personally know people who had sex with their college professors.
Yep,
I
pass
find-
right through.
I personally find it gross, but hey,
Repulsive.
they're both adults. They, do whatever you want.
that's crazy.
Listen,
It's not that hard to believe, especially in a
Listen.
city like Miami. Yeah,
Listen,
you
in
know?
Miami, coochie is a currency. All right,
100%.
coochie is a month. Listen,
100%.
it's a currency.
100%.
And the reason it's a currency, and I'm not saying this to bash women, because it's the niggas who are dumb as fuck for buying it. But it's currency because guess what? It's called sex appeal. You know what I'm saying? You can manipulate
For
if
sure.
you look good, whether you're male or female. If you know you got somebody who's feeling you, you can manipulate the fuck out of them to get what you want.
100%.
And that's basically part of the game. That's why you got to be,
So-
all on your P's and Q's.
So I've had this discussion with female and male friends of mine where females have superiorities to us that
Mhm.
we don't have, and men have superiorities, like things that are we're better than you in certain things and you are better than us in certain things. Case in point, I'm not gonna make $50 million on OnlyFans, but a woman can do that.
Easy.
So my case in point, our superiority, we could probably bench press 300 pounds if we get in shape. A woman can't do that. So it's just a reality of what it is. Some women, they use that to their advantage, and it is what it is. Is it right, wrong? I mean,
That's debatable.
it depends on your principles and your morality. You know what I mean? I'm not going to judge you.
Yeah, it's the
Morality
same-
is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
Hey, you see what I did? You see what I did there?
Yeah. Okay, you're right.
That's
Put it
how,
like this. It's more of don't hate the player, hate the game.
True.
Because at the same time, how
Okay.
many times we hear people complain about shit? But if you want, okay, for every guy who wants to hate on the OnlyFans chick, you know me. Listen, porn's free. I don't get it, but hey, knock yourself out, But if they want to pay for it, they fall victim
all
to their
means.
own cons. That's it.
by all means.
Now, mind you, the more money you take, the more risk you're gonna have problems with. You know this.
Roberto's
you
like
understand?
feet finders. LOL.
You know what I'm saying? So
No. Listen, the feet chick, especially. I bet get your grind on. They're not even doing anything risque.
but you see, we had to talk about that. and listen, if my partner said, "Yo," I'm saying, "No, the fuck you're not." Listen, I
Feet? Are you kidding
it's
me?
my feet.
If my
My
wife,
feet.
listen, if my wife was like, listen, I have to admit something. I've been making $50,000 a month selling pictures of my feet on OnlyFans. I
Mhm.
wouldn't give a shit. I'd be like, shit, where's the money at? You ain't been giving me that money. What are you spending it on?
See, it's not the feet that I have a problem with. It's the addiction of it. See, and you know this. If I say, "Yo, dog, you know what? I need you to sleep with this chick. I'll pay you 10 grand." Bet. Then it's like, "Yo, you see that chick? I need you to do some crazy shit with her. I'll pay you 20 grand." Bet. It's the fact that the problem
The
with
slippery
money.
slope. The slippery
It's a
slope.
very slippery
I
slope
get it.
because 1 minute you're doing feet pick, next thing you're adding oil, now you're showing your legs. It's like fucking chicken. You're just going higher and higher, and next thing you know, you're butt naked on the screen because the money's there.
True.
And people lose concept of
True.
what's really going on. They fall victim to their own hustle, and that's what's happening now.
While we're on the OnlyFans subject, I want to say something about Miami. You know what I hate about Miami? We get labeled as the OnlyFans city, and it's filled with whores and hoes and all that shit.
It ain't.
You know what I hate? Most of the women that come here and they're like live in Brickell and have an expensive car and pay all that shit off with OnlyFans. They're not even from here. They're from some other city and they moved here.
Yep.
And now Miami gets the stigma of
Oh, they're tainted.
yeah,
as
like,
Miami women.
Miami's full of whores. No, it's full of people who move here who are horse.
We don't claim them. Okay, let me explain. Let me explain who the real Miami and
horse before they got here. Is that what you're trying to say?
We don't want you.
Oh my
we
God.
don't want you here. I don't care. I'm the most welcoming person on the planet, but fuck y'all. Okay,
No,
y'all.
man.
And here's the thing. You want to know what a real Miami chick is? The Miami chick is one who pulls back her hairs, wear chancletas, who's willing to jump in the whip, listen to good music, and just go out for a vibe. That's the Miami chick. This
Your
high
Miami
maintenance shit. Huh?
You're Miami.
No, my Miami chicks are toxic, but I have a problem.
Roberto says, Jason, what happens when you model in the ... Just saying.
Can you shut the fuck up and stop putting my business out there? Damn. All right. So final thoughts. We'll start with you. Final thoughts on the teacher.
You definitely gave me a different perspective. You know, I didn't even notice that he was texting his students like, oh, wait. If it's, we don't know if it's
Again, it's
actual
30 seconds, so
iMessage or maybe like a
He's reading
learning
text message-
platform,
he's reading text messages.
No, but Rick, I don't think he should be texting kids. Period.
or
No.
I don't know. But either way, it's not
Sketch.
looking good.
Well, me personally, the school system is all kinds of broken. They fired a dude who seemed like he was a good dude, who seemed like he was doing good things with his students, teaching his students good things. Yet when teachers are fucking up and they're teaching your kids what they shouldn't be teaching them, they glorify those teachers. So I just think the school system is broken. The education system is totally broken in this country. They crucify the wrong people. They glorify the wrong people. And we all know that the school system has needed to change for a long time. So
Hasn't changed since 1954.
it's pretty crazy.
It's crazy.
Final thoughts on it. I think it's important that there was video of what those kids were doing. Because the way the media portrays shit, they could have made this man look like the devil.
True.
And that video evidence actually shows grace. Him crying shows grace. I just hope what comes to light is the truth, and the truth is nothing but sincere.
Right.
So we're going to pick up on the second video for y'all. All right. Y'all going to like this one. Let's hear it.
Here's how you can tell the difference between a man who is healthy and a man that's toxic. The man that's healthy is looking to be of service. The man that's toxic is looking to be served. So if I am a man that's only looking to be served, I'm not going to see you, because I'm only going to see you through the lens of how you service me. If I'm looking to serve and be of service, then I'm going to see what's your need, what's your thoughts, what are your dreams, what are your hopes, what do you want to do, how do you want to do it? Well, why do you think that? Why do you feel that? Oh, wow, you put some lashes on today. Oh, okay, you got some extensions in. Like, because I'm looking to be of service. So I'm actually evaluating what's in front of me and identifying how I can make a benefit or make a contribution, versus looking at it from like, what's in it for me? I believe, here's how you can tell the difference between a man.
I just want to say this for all you red pills out there, the Flesh and Pit, the whatever podcast. This man just put y'all to shame because he called y'all out. A man. Well, we're going to get into that.
That's a great way.
I want to hear from a woman's perspective what you think about that.
I think that was put very simple to understand, because I think he's right. I think, a man who is toxic usually wants to be serviced. And a man who is healthy, trying to build a foundation with a woman, a relationship, a family, etc., he wants to be of service. Typically, a man's love language would be acts of service or companionship, etc. So just being around, his partner, his
Don't
family,
you think it would depend
doing
on
things.
the person?
It does depend. I personally, from the men in my life that I've asked what their love language is, usually one of the answers is acts of service and companionship.
Okay.
So it can vary by person, but I think
5 love
know,
languages. If you haven't read the book, it's amazing. You should pick it up. It's a very, very good book. It teaches you not only about other people, but about yourself. My love language is physical touch, by the way. Anyway,
Oh, that too. I
Um,
forgot.
Yes.
The man's number one love
Hell
language.
yes.
Silly
Listen,
me. How
sometimes
can I?
we want
forget?
y'all to slide our draws off. We don't always want to be the one to do it. All right.
I mean, you don't have to. You can
Oopsie
just give me
daisy.
a hug or give me a kiss. That's a
Break
Jesus.
up. That's it.
You're right. You're right.
Like, I'm not getting out the pool.
Yo,
Why? You know I'm not
He's
getting
like,
out the
he's
pool.
like an extremist. He's like either nothing or you're sliding my boxers off straight up. He's
So what do
anyway.
you take from it, G?
I take he's right. However, there's a caveat to that.
Catch 22.
Yes, men who don't respect themselves and aren't fulfilled as far as like being aware of there's nothing wrong with wanting something for myself. That's important. You don't want to be all the way always serving her, always all your attention on her,
Balance.
always and again, you're talking in the context of a relationship, but we could take this into a business, a job environment, a business partnership. You could take this into anything. If you're a person, yes, no, 100% you want to be focused on other people, serving other people, because that there's a lack of that in the world, but you don't want to do it at hindrance to yourself.
Facts.
There's a balance. You have to have some self-interest. Some self-interest is okay because no one's really going to look out
you
for
have
you.
to separate yourself.
Correct. So
as my mind is weird. I look at shit critically. The ideal idea of a man is to provide, right?
100%.
We're providers. And that's why I felt him when a good man is a person who performs a service. If I'm with my partner, I want to be able to service her, cater her, love her.
100%.
But within my love within my love language, but at the same time, like he says, there's balance.
Correct.
Because there's nothing wrong when it wanting it to be reciprocated.
Exactly.
But just like my love language is different. Shorty's love language is different.
Correct. Yeah.
But the toxic trait of a man feeling he deserves to be serviced is what I have a problem with, because it's like respect. Give respect when it's due.
Correct.
Give service when it's due. You just can't basically be out here because of your sex and demand you get this just based off that. You get based results off your actions and the content of your character.
Correct.
That's how that works. And that's a hard pill for a lot of men to swallow, because we all have been taught it's a man's world. But when you finish the lyrics, it's a man's world, but it would be nothing without women or a girl.
Yep.
And that is a fact. We cannot prosper without y'all. Y'all cannot prosper without us.
100%.
Y'all could choose the fucking bear if you want. Okay?
I will choose a bear any day.
You're lying.
I'm not fucking
Okay.
lying.
Now
I'm not fucking lying.
Can I
Did I
educate you?
hesitate?
I'm gonna have
I
to.
did
I'm gonna learn you right now.
So the only thing I'll add to that is, you're not entitled to anything in this world.
Facts.
Period. So if you're a man that thinks, oh, I deserve this, you don't deserve a goddamn thing. If you're a woman that's like, oh, I deserve this, you don't deserve shit. You got to earn it.
You only
You know?
deserve what you earn.
So, yes.
I wanted to say before, what you had mentioned before, you were right, like about not fully serving her, like, you know, to that
100%.
degree, and that goes for any aspect in your life, because I think that applies to Jason very well. Jason's love language, he likes to perform acts of service, not just to his romantic partners, but his loved ones, his friends, you know, his family members, etc. And I think that's very not just honorable, but very sweet. And, you know, he cares about the people in his life.
That's awesome.
But, you know,
I'll cut you off like I didn't lose no sleep on it. No problem.
we always just let him know to just be careful about who he's nice to, because he likes to give his whole
Everything.
arm
I feel you.
and people take his torso.
So there's an interesting audio tape or audio course that I took a long time ago called The Magic of Colors. You guys would like this. What you're doing right now is you're following the golden rule. Why? Your love language, or what you perceive as love, is called acts of service, but that's not someone else's love language.
Facts.
The golden rule is what? The golden rule is do unto others as I like done to myself.
Amen.
You need to be following what's called the rainbow rule. The rainbow rule is do unto others as they like to do unto themselves. Meaning there's other colors involved besides gold. You know what I mean? So in some cases, some people might not reciprocate love that way. So they'll just take and take and take and take and take and take and take, not understanding that you're trying to give them love because that's not how they speak. You're not speaking their language.
Also, it comes into a factor. not trying to put myself on blast. A lot of people in my situation give the loves we never receive. There's a saying: if you never receive love from a spoon, you learn to lick it off a knife. And trust me, I cut my tongue plenty of times. And with that being said, you know, it's a crazy rift because society has put that rift in place where we're partners. And I'm not going to attack you, but you chose the bear.
Yes.
And here's why I have a problem with that.
You have always had
If you asked a man, would he rather be with a bear or a woman in the forest? What do you think he's going to say?
a woman.
Why? In your opinion, why?
I mean, why would a man want to be stuck with a bear? The chances, and I feel in their eyes, the chances of them being attacked by a bear are a little more higher than being attacked by a woman. But in a woman's perspective, the chances of us getting attacked by a man would be a lot higher than getting attacked by a bear. And a lot of women would risk getting attacked by a bear than getting attacked by a man.
You know what the percentage of bear attacks are with bears and humans? Like, it's pretty high.
Yeah.
So I don't think I think a bear is more likely to attack you than a man, but hey, I could be wrong.
Here's why I have a problem with your answer. Now, you're entitled to your answer. You're not wrong for that. That's how you feel. That's how you feel. It is what it is. But real men, I'm not talking about these fuck boys. We understand the importance of a partner. We understand the importance of a partner. So if I'm going to be lost in the woods, I need to be with somebody who's going to work with me, not somebody who's going to fucking eat me.
Correct.
You see what I'm saying? And the reason why a lot of shorties pick the bear, from my opinion, why they pick the bear over the male, is because they allow what's being pushed out there and what they have their own personal experience to separate from what actually could be something beautiful. Meaning, when I hear shorties, oh, I'll pick a bear over being with a man in the forest, how are you going to survive with a fucking bear? Let's be honest. How are you going to survive with a fucking bear? You're telling me that you rather be in the wood with a fucking 500,000-600,000 pound bear who can literally bitch slap you into the next life without having to trying to, versus a man who could honestly work with you and make a structural environment. See, that's where people get upset. And I'm not ripping you. I'm not. Trust me, I'm not. I just find it crazy because anytime I hear shorty say she picks the bear, that tells me there's parts of you that's been hurt. There's parts of you that's been broken. And you rather take death than life. And that to me blows my mind.
When you say that you understand why the shorty would pick the bear rather than the man, yet you still go on a tangent and say that's to me is the audacity. Because it's like, you know, I have been blessed in life where I haven't had such a traumatic experience with a man in that way. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've had my share moments.
Can I interject?
Hold on. I'm curious. John Carlos says, I'm curious. Do the individuals who choose the bear think they're able to nurture the bear and tap into his kindness of the bear? Yo, for real, you feel me, though?
No,
I know that there's different types of bears. Now, I'm no bear expert by any means.
Society paints bears as these cute little Yogi Bear and Ted.
No,
and
bears
did you see
bears.
The Revenant?
They're ferocious animals.
Yeah.
Did you see Cocaine Bear?
Yeah.
Thank you, bro. Like,
they're ferocious animals.
and that's what you're choosing.
Can you imagine?
They're not cute. They're not cuddly. They'll tear your head off. They'll kill you. They'll eat you. They'll slash your guts out of your stomach. Like, these are ferocious animals.
And they can climb trees. That's
So-
the most fucked up. Have you ever seen a bear climb a tree?
That's crazy because you think they don't, but they can.
They climb trees.
Name what eats a bear? Nothing. It doesn't have any predators. Like,
Another bear. But
You know what I
at
mean?
the same time, again, I wasn't trying to put you in a critical
No,
moment.
I know.
It's just when it comes to choosing.
what percentage of women in, like, let's say, you don't have to say your age, but what year were you born in?
98.
98. Okay.
I'm 25. Might as well. I mean, I don't really care.
Unfortunately, this is your generation. So this is a common trend amongst younger people nowadays.
Yes.
It's like, oh, but a man. And then I'm not saying you specifically, but amongst young people where they're like, oh, but people are this way. And it's like, okay, how many physical like encounters or how many situations like that have you had?
Right.
Oh, not many. So why would you generalize about something that you yourself have not been through? You know what I mean? That happens very often amongst women in Gen Z for whatever reason. They just like to generalize things, and it's
And
like,
it doesn't work. It's not black and white. There's a gray area.
No, and most of them haven't even been through that experience. Like they say, it's like, oh, that's how most things are. According to who? Not according to you.
But
Not according
that's the truth. But and they can
Yeah.
listen. The truth is a hard pill to swallow. Another thing is when mind you, if you're religious or spiritual like myself, you came from my rib. That's what real men keep to ourselves. We literally look at you as our partner. That is a real man's view. And that's the thing that I find so critical that your generation and even in our generation is so lost because we get paranoid by other people's experiences, and because we get paranoid by their experiences, we're not even living
because
our life.
their experiences
But we're not living
are valid for them, you know, because our experiences shape us of who we are as people, and then moving forward based on those experiences we try to move forward and heal, etc.
You
And
have a
those
point.
people share their stories to their loved ones, you know, word of mouth spreads. But as women, as a community, we have to spread the word because man is ferocious.
Can I be real with
He's
you?
also-
Bad men,
he can
because there
also-
are good men in this world. You know,
But can we agree that the majority of men are good? Because if they weren't,
Yep.
this place, the world would literally
If
be
men
in
weren't
constant
good-
war, fire. Like everybody would be.
I'll take it to the extreme. If there was no good men, you would basically be getting rounds housed right now. And that's what and I'm gonna be real, a lot of women don't like that. The only reason that you guys have the safety that you have
Is
because
because of
men
good men.
support you,
It's because of good
and
men.
it's good men who
100%.
support you. When you want to feel safe, it's men who basically make those efforts to make you feel safe. We can never take away 100% of all your worries, no. But real men, loving men who
They
have
provide
structure,
safety.
we provide safety.
Safety. 100%.
And that's the thing. You have a generation who has demonized all guys. It's like saying all black people are criminals. But if you're educated, we know it's not all
Right.
criminals. I mean, all black people are criminals. Same thing with the police. Not all cops are bad, but we know when you're educated,
That's-
you got the good, you got the bad.
Look at the flip side of the coin. If I were to say all women are whores, right? Oh my God, how dare you say that? But the second someone says, oh, there's men are horrible, we don't need men, it's kind of acceptable nowadays. So it's like a double-edged sword. It's a catch-22. Why is I'm not allowed to say it about women, but you're allowed to say it about men? Where like,
unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of
It's-
a lot of topics that do hold double standards, like saying the man saying all women are whores. Oh, that's like shame on you, cancel
Right.
culture. But
Right.
to a woman
But those
saying
are the
all men
extreme.
are horrible or
Right.
all men are trash, you know, that doesn't hold such a negative value as the first one does.
I'll give you guys some. That's very valid. I'll give you guys some stats that are pretty mind blowing. The majority of suicides in the world, men. The majority of bankruptcies in the world, men.
Incarceration,
The
men.
majority of people incarcerated in the world, men. The majority of deaths in war, men. The majority of people enrolled in war, men.
Death at work,
Do you
men.
see a consistent variable here? Why do you think men do these things, like not just to themselves,
Because
but like act a certain way?
We're the ones physically capable of doing those
We're
things.
built for it.
You can go to war, but if there's a war between an army of men and an army of women, the army of women are going to lose because that's just.
Well, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
No, what
Right,
he's
but-
saying is pretty much
there's just a physical superiority. It's just
Right, but like I said, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. Like in that specific instance, like the incarcerations and the war and all this, like just because you can, the physical superiority.
but it's not only physical superiority, it's the terms and condition of how the world operates. And we could take it back to the Stone Age, we could take it back to the
It's
biblical
always been a
days.
man's world.
No, but
but
let's
to
stay
some-
on
to some degree.
Let's stay on the topic of the military. You know, once upon a time, women weren't in the military, right?
Facts.
You know what they had to do to let women into the military? So there was physical standards that you had to meet. Like you had to do a certain amount of push-ups, you had to run,
Pull-ups.
right? They had to lower those standards so
Standards.
women could come into the army.
And there's a famous colonel, 3-star general, who made a relevant argument about that. And he made it very clear. He says you're lowering the standards for going into war, where if a woman can't pick up 220 pounds and take it up a mile,
correct.
and if we're in fighting terms, that's life and death.
Correct. And it's not about feelings.
It's not about fairness. It's about equality.
Correct.
Right, but
If
I'm
you can
assuming now.
But that's the thing. Just in military wise, right? it's based on fairness instead of equality.
Right, but like nowadays, I'm assuming how the military is structured.
Do the Taliban have females shooting AKs at me?
Wait, but let me finish.
They don't. So
Based on now and how war is and
Mhm.
how the military is, there's different I don't know the terminology, but like departments, like specific sections, you know.
Okay.
Like wrestling, for example, there's different weight classes. Like, why would you put someone who weighs 150 pounds on a weight class for like 200 pounds, for example? Like,
You're right.
you wouldn't. So, you know, I
But-
guess nowadays, you know, women enroll, but obviously put them in a field where like they have strengths at, that they have skills at, or they can have obtain certain skills.
Well, it's not that you can't obtain those skills. No one's taking that away from you. Yes, you can. But the likelihood of being matched up to the entry level male who can do it is crazy.
difficult.
If there's a
impossible.
team of just men for that specific mission for them, so
Okay.
be it. That's
But-
fine.
but-
you know, that those are a group of individuals that are skilled to do the tasks that they're given.
Yeah, but here's where I feel like a lot of women don't know. And you like to read books. You read The Art of War, I'm assuming, right?
He's my favorite. Robert Greene is my favorite author.
Okay.
I love him.
Sun Tzu, right? If you knew history, women were the most dangerous portion of war because they were able to infiltrate the enemy.
100%.
You guys have a skill set that men don't have.
Correct.
Just like we have a skill set that you don't have.
Correct.
And you cannot get upset about that because whether you're religious, spiritual, or go based on biology, the odds are put like that for a reason.
I think a reason why some women might be, I guess, upset that some men can do things that like women can't, even though there are obviously things that women can do that men can't,
Exactly.
is the notion of, at least, I don't know about everywhere else, but at least in America growing up, where like women can't work and they can't vote.
You know why you couldn't vote in the beginning? Because you weren't going across seas to die. So why would you
wasn't
be
it
able?
also
No,
like
No,
because
wait,
all
wait,
men are
wait.
created
But
equal?
Let's cross this. When women were voted, like when it was voted and allowed, like yes, women should vote. There were no female politicians.
Yeah.
All the politicians were men.
Yeah.
Mm.
So men gave yes, you should vote. So in reality, women have the right to vote because of men.
Yeah.
So
And we're not saying we're better than you.
No, we're not.
We're just literally saying you are equal to us.
Correct.
This is where and this is my opinion, correct me if I'm wrong. Women are equal to us when it comes to responsibility. It should be like that, but it's not. Because guess what? A man can't provide for a child, he goes to jail. A woman can't provide for a child, she gets support from the government. You understand what I'm saying? The terms and conditions are flipped and rigged against us. And that's the reason why shit is so fucked up, because it's not about fairness. It's about equality. Because if it was really focused on equality, your life would be completely fucking different. But you have female privilege. No one can hate you for that. That's just how life is. Sorry
I
to
think
cut
people
you.
misconstrued being equal with being fair, because you do make a good point where it's like, if we were truly equals and
Mm-hmm.
let's say equals in the sense of you had the same equality as I did,
Mhm.
did the stuff that I did, it'd be super easy for you. But if I had the same equality as
Mm-hmm.
you, like doing stuff that was equal to you, I'd obviously be struggling.
Okay. Let's talk about your skin color. You guys, if you guys go outside the US, you guys are Mexicans, right? But that's the truth. That's how they look at you. You can
No,
say I'm from
look,
Venezuela
right.
and go to Utah and they're like, nah, that's Mexican.
Listen, no, look, he's right. If I go to New York, everybody thinks I'm Puerto Rican. If I go to California, everybody thinks I'm Mexican.
Right.
It
Yeah.
just
You
it
know
is
what
what it is.
But,
It is what it is.
Right.
If you want to break it down to core, as a black man, I only care about equality. I don't care about fairness. Life is unfair. That's what makes it life. But as long as I have the same opportunity as you, I have no complaints.
Mhm.
And that's a hard pill for some people to swallow, because they want to basically get the fairness instead of the equality. And that's why this younger generation, our generation, so fucked up. The boomers, the great generations, they understood it was always about equality, not fairness. Life is unfair. Own it. So before we get lost, we got to show you one more
That
video.
was a good discussion.
Yes, it was. This video here is going to basically Wolfpack mentality.
Mm.
Here we go.
And we got heated on that one.
You know why wise people are made to live life like a wolf? Wolves never eat carrion. You'll never see a wolf performing in a circle. Unlike some other animals, wolves don't mate with their mothers or sisters. A wolf typically mates with one wolf for life, and the female does the same. In the event of a spouse's death, the remaining spouse mourns for no less than 3 months and may last for a whole year. The wolf is called the righteous son because it is the only animal that honors its parents when they reach old age and can't keep up with the pack for hunting. The parents remain in the den while the younger wolves hunt for them and bring them food. As humans, we have a lot to learn from wolves. Did you know why wise people often say to live?
So
I love that.
I love wolves.
I was talking to Nelson outside before we started the show, and something that when I was running through the streets, OGs taught me. It's better to be a wolf than a lion or a tiger, because you could find a lion and a tiger in a circus, but you'll never find a wolf dropping through no fucking hula hoops. With that being said, wolf mentality is my brother's keeper. We stick to our pack, and that's business too. Just like you guys are my head honchos here. We're a unit. You know what I'm saying? We're not here to do anyone dirty. We're here to basically grow as one.
Right.
That is the mentality of a wolf. But why does it get such a bad rep? Well, the reason it gets a bad rep is because it does its own thing. Even in the animal kingdom, it is the one few species that does its own thing and has completely organized. To show you how wolves move and operate, you heard what it said about the parents, right? Did you know that when they sense the oldest wolf, they put it in the middle of the pack to keep it protected?
Yeah.
Okay, strongest one is the tail gunner, youngest one. Do you know what a female wolf does to protect her male wolf against another male? She will act like she's scared and cower down underneath her partner's neck to protect him from getting bit by the other male wolf. Now, let's apply that to how we do business. Let's apply that how we meet people and how we make friends. How do you feel this subject basically relates to how you operate your life? Would you say that you move like a wolf, or would you say you don't?
Personally, I believe that I don't think humans can necessarily build structure their life kind of like wolves or certain animals.
Sure.
Maybe to some point in their life, but humans were so I don't know if it's because we're intellectually advanced or emotionally too involved or
Emotionally charged.
Emotionally charged. I don't know what the case may be, but somehow we're flawed. We're not perfect, and we obviously make mistakes. It's so admirable to see certain animal groups in the animal kingdom, like wolves, for example, lead a life with values and purpose, and it's instinctual. It's about survival. It's clear as day. If you observe them in the wild, it's clear as day that they live by like a golden, like their own golden rule. They live by a code, exactly. And some humans do live by a code, but some of us are flawed and we don't live by codes, and we just live by whatever we want. And it would be nice, amazing if we could all just function, coordinate and work as one, but that's not always the case.
What about you? Do you feel like you would be a wolf, or do you feel like you would be different from that?
So, interestingly enough, there's one thing I'll add to all that. Do you know about the alpha and the omega system in the wolf pack? You know what that is?
Yeah, more or less.
So the alpha is like the leader, and then the omega is kind of like the wolf that the weaker wolf that they send out to do things that they wouldn't let like the alpha do and stuff like that. There's a whole hierarchy system to where like you have to prove yourself in that pack.
Yep.
In order
it's like
to
being in the gang.
It's more like being in the mafia, something like that. You know what I mean? It's
right.
You got to rise up the ranks and prove yourself and do
Play your
certain
role.
things. But you could even say that's just family. Like you could raise a family that way.
Like wolves will literally kick out a weak wolf from the pack if it meant that wolf might
If they become a liability.
if a liability
That's
to the
where the
pack.
term
Correct.
lone wolf comes in. That's what happens.
Yeah.
So
they get kicked out of the pack.
when it comes to that, I love that video because I even though my spirit animal is a honey badger, the mentality has always been like a wolf. Because the way I look at it is, I don't believe in the whole alpha, beta, or sigma thing in humans, even though I've been called a sigma because I'm an asshole. But for the most part, when you look at that whole analogy, your family structure is based like a wolf pack. Think about it. Your grandparents, they did their time. We're courteous to them. We make sure we take time with them if they're still here. You know what I'm saying? Your
Right.
parents, you see them aging. It makes you take initiative to take place and do the things that you need to do to make sure they're straight. That is the proper way to move out in life. I'm not saying that you got to be like, fuck all these other people and these other clans and
Right,
these
right.
other wolf pack, but protect what's yours. And it's the same thing with your business. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Be careful who you choose. Just like be careful who you choose you lay down with.
Right.
Mhm.
Be careful who you choose as a partner. Be careful who you allow in. It's not a right for people to know who you are. It's a privilege.
Right.
And that privilege people take advantage of.
Mhm.
That's something that me and you have talked about. I talked about it with Lewis, man, where I had to learn to put myself first. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're selfless, let me tell you what ends up happening. You can no longer lie to yourself. When
Right.
you're selfish, you can lie to yourself all day. But being selfless, I will give you the shirt off my back and you could do me dirty. I'm not coming back for revenge because I already know how life works. Life is very unforgivable. You only get one shot at this. So with that Wolfpack mentality, it's like we're all here right now.
Right.
He has his clan. He's meeting our clan. You know what I'm saying? But it's a tight ship because it's dear to you. And with that, if you apply that into your life, you would weed out everyone who's not good for you. You get what I'm saying? Just like I know you know this. All money is not good money. You know what I'm saying? Just like all
Yeah.
companies not good company. You
100%.
have to have a breakdown.
Mhm.
But with that being said, yo, we want in today, yo. Like we're really, yo. Comments is up there. Good night, love y'all. Yo, love you, Ty. And my face don't look like plastic, bitch. You just hating. I put lotion on. With that being said, Joe, what do you want your last words to your viewers and our viewers that you're here with today? What would you like for them to leave home with?
Live a life of purpose. Find your purpose. Chase your dreams. We only got one life. Make it count. Push it to the limit. The world is yours. If you're not chasing your dream, life is meaningless.
Amen to that, Nate.
Live, laugh, love.
Oh my God! Why? Why?
I like to piss off Jason sometimes. So
Fucking live life, love. I bet you probably put that shit up in your crib already.
no, of course not.
Yeah,
I'm not that
yeah.
basic.
Wait till you go to IKEA. Oh my God, baby, it looks so great. We should put this up.
I see the sign. I'm like, yay! It's basic.
So my last words to y'all is I'll say this. Lost a fallen brother recently. Good guy. That one hurt, but dedicate this one to him. You know, this is a person who had a Wolfpack mentality. He loved his family. He took care of his family. That's what he focused on. And to me, that's what you call success. Success is like beauty. It's in the eye of the beholder, guys. So don't get fooled out here thinking money makes you successful. It don't. It makes you a target. What makes you successful is what makes you find peace, not what makes you be seen. So with that being said, where can they find you, love?
You guys can find me on my Instagram. It's Natalie, 2I's__01.
And where can they find the Nelson Rodriguez Montana right here, yo?
Montana the Prophet on Instagram. Montana Method Mindset. If you want to follow the podcast, Montana Method on YouTube, Spotify, everywhere else.
All right. And this is your Gearhead Logic. You can find me at Logic142 on Instagram. I will be on his show May 31st. So make sure you tune in. It's about to get wild. I'll be on my best behavior. And as you know, this is one thing for sure, two things for certain. Holla, baby.
Say goodnight to the bad guy.
Love you guys.
I like that. Okay, that was great.
Peace.